Good day, everyone. I'm Cherry Joyce Dilio, and I'm the next reporter. And my topic covers about marginalization and inclusion. Aims and objective. Further learning about marginalization and knowing inclusion. Know the framework that focuses on the collaborative activity between young people and adults in education that promotes inclusion. But before discussing it further, in its relation and its importance in the context of education, we shall define these two terms for better understanding. According to the dictionary, marginalization is the act of placing a person or thing in a position of lesser importance, influence, or power. It means that it's the process in which individuals are blocked from various rights, opportunities, and resources that are normally available to members of a different group. Next up is the inclusion. And according to the dictionary, inclusion is the process or policy of providing equal access to opportunities and resources for people who might otherwise be excluded or marginalized, such as for those who had mental and physical disabilities and members of other minority groups. The experience of marginalization is specific and unique to each marginalized group and everyone in that group. They struggle with inequality and social exclusion, and poverty is a common indicator. One of the characteristics of marginalization is that marginalized people may suffer multiple discriminations. Inclusion is seen as universal human right. The aim of inclusion is to embrace all people irrespective of race, gender, disability, and medical or other need. It is also about giving equal access and opportunities and getting rid of discrimination and intolerance or removal of barriers. And inclusive design aims to remove the barriers that create undue effort and separation. It enables everyone to participate equally, confidently, and independently in everyday activities. Inclusive design is about making places that everyone can use. The way places are designed affect our ability to move, see, hear, and communicate effectively. As for education, inclusion has become the term used to describe the right of parents and children to access mainstream education alongside their peers where parents want it and children's needs can be met. Integration, where the focus was on the child's ability to adapt, has been replaced by inclusion. The focus for inclusion is on the setting's ability to adapt to the needs of the child, altering where necessary the way it works. An inclusive setting works towards providing effective planning and different activities or differentiation in order to meet individual needs. A number of educational establishments have found that a move towards inclusive education has led to an improvement in general educational standards. According to Apat Biyaya Foundation in 2017, the Philippines was home to the first modern public schooling systems, the oldest universities, colleges, and vocational schools in Asia. However, this has not yet translated into improved basic educational standards for its marginalized children. Marginalized groups are often abandoned by national education policies that deprive many people of the right to education. A large number of children from poor households remain illiterate even after 4 years of schooling. Less than half of children have basic literacy and math skills. Misu in 2012 manifests how young people's voice can intensify systems, processes, and experiences in congruence with inclusive education. Voice is clearly identified as one of the students' rights. It means having a say as well as referring to language and emotional components as well as nonverbal means that are used to express opinions. Simply put it this way, it is listening and paying attention towards What young people say and do not say. It means attending to the words, emotions, and behaviors of young people and providing them with various opportunities to fully participate and collaborate with adults in education. According to the book, Confronting Marginalization in Education, Misu posits a framework that focuses on the collaborative activity between young people and adults in education that promotes inclusion. It also takes into consideration other factors that contextualize marginalization, like the curriculum, systems with the society, and effects of the administration and management of the everyday lives of teachers and young people in schools. This framework demonstrates a four-step cyclical process that is quite flexible. As we can see in the figure, these are the four steps in the framework: opening doors, enabling voices to be heard, looking closely, bringing concerns to the surface, making sense of the evidence, sharing data with the learners, and lastly, dealing with marginalization, encouraging inclusive thinking practice. Moving forward, I'm going to discuss about the four steps in the framework that Mesu posits that focuses on the collaborative activity between young people and adults in education that promotes inclusion. Step 1: opening doors, enabling voices to be heard. Situating the students in the center of the process, various methods are used to allow them to express how various concerns and experiences lead to the marginalization of students in school. In this way, the students are respected as active participants. Different methods are suggested to be used are, are appropriate to the age of the learners that measures social relationship. The question to be raised is, what do you think are practices, behaviors, policies, and systems in class or in school that causes marginalization? Step 2: looking closely, bringing concerns to the surface. In this stage of the process, data gathered from step 1 is meticulously examined to identify students who may be experiencing some kind of exclusion or any concerns that might lead to marginalization. It is the practitioners who study the data unless there were students who acted as co-researchers. They gather and discuss the data and the basic information that is surfacing from specific students and about distinct concerns. The question raised is that, is there any person or students in class who experience being marginalized, and how? Proceeding to the next step, which is step 3: making sense of the evidence, sharing data with learners. In this step, it is when the time that there is an explicit focus on the concerns about marginalization that were gathered from the previous steps. Students are asked to think about their own experiences as well as about their classmates' feels and experience. It involves discussion between the adults and the students. Now, sharing data with learners, these teachers are very aware that prime owners of assessment data are the students, and the sharing the data enables students, teachers, and parents partnership to improve teaching and learning. And now the step 4, which is dealing with marginalization, encouraging inclusive thinking and practice. Collaboration between the adults and students in this is very significant, and also it spells out the response of the group and the concrete action that will be taken to confront issues and concerns about marginalization that were shared in the previous steps. This step is not the end of the process, because it goes on and makes adults mindful on what the young people have to say. It also assures both the young and the adults that marginalization is needing your attention, concerns, and address.
Building an inclusive society that empowers marginalized groups and individuals supports sustainable development. Marginalization must be eradicated permanently, and the fact that we are all members of the same community must be sufficient to treat each other fairly. No one deserves or should be excluded. As a human being should be a sufficient justification to include everyone.